Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever video on this channel and my current zoo. Today we're going to be building an enclosure for the llamas, if you can't already tell by the thumbnail and stuff. Yeah, so I'll be sort of like doing this video in parts, pardon the fences. Right, that's the fences done. Now we move on to terraforming. Terraforming I wanted to do as a sort of tutorial style in this video, where as you can tell I mark spots where I'm going to add planting with this short grass. It's a trick that generally works in my opinion, and it also makes for some pretty realistic habitats. So yeah, I end up lining it up and using various soil types. So I started off by adding the grass, and then I move on to covering up the grass with light soil to make it look almost trampled on, since the light grass is way too vibrant to be realistic. So as you can tell, it looks pretty good. And then I use some various other types of terrain, like the coarse sand and the heavy soil. It gives it a nice mix, and then I end up correcting the sand, which you can see right here, since it was a bit too bright. And yeah, that looks pretty good in my opinion. Now we move on to planting. Planting is, in this case, very simple. All we did was just use mainly the buffalo grass, and later I used a new daffodil stalks to make this habitat look good. I go with a very short buffalo grass since I am trying to keep the zoo preferably as realistic as possible, since I want the zoo to be realistic, and that's my style of building. So as you can tell, I tried to keep the grass very short because the llamas would have realistically eaten it all. Which, yeah. So as you can tell, I really just used it. I ended up cutting some of it out to not get this video too boring. Next of all, I used Caesar Creates small fall rocks from his Habitat Essentials, not DLCs, blueprint. They look pretty good, they're very realistic in habitats like these, where I enjoy putting them around the grasses or on the edge where you can actually see them well, and near the path. I don't know why, but it works really nicely. So next up, I just add some trees, which are these Aquatic trees, and yeah, I just come back to them. Now we move on to the shelter. I tried doing some editing. I don't know, it didn't look that good, but this is my first ever video on this channel. You can back a blind eye to my editing. But yeah, I just did a really simple roof, and we move on to the video where I ask you to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, and potentially even comment. Any form of support is much appreciated. If you have any feedback, suggestions, or ideas, feel free to let me know in the comments. And now back to the video. So I used the log walls which Caesar creates once used, like in the early days of the Elm Hill City Zoo, which I'm a huge fan of to look, so I did that. I also used some logs around the edges for a bit more depth and interest. Eventually I also added some vines, which I did off camera, but yeah. And then I finally just add a like add the roof gable piece, I think that's how you pronounce it at least, to complete the roof. Now, what I like to do for a more realistic look is add a slight overhang over my roofs, which just makes them look a bit more realistic. And yeah, you wouldn't really see the difference, but it still works. And then I add these little overhanging pieces as well, because they also look good. Oh no, it took me that long. But yeah, having the roof overhang though works really nice for detail. I also might go through after this video and do some details, which if I do, I'll make sure to showcase in the next video of this too. And I finally just end up finishing up the roof. It takes me awkwardly long, usually this process goes faster. I don't know why I was doing it so slowly. I was checking for Z fighting on the other side, which is that like epileptic type of glitch that you see when you like add two pieces which overlap each other. Like here you can see it again. So yeah, I end up fixing them by slightly adjusting the pieces, and now we do some exterior planting. This will look better when the zoo is complete, but until then we have a long way to go. And yeah, here is the end part of the video. Yeah, really what I try to do is like a stable almost. It looks pretty good in my opinion. I used salamanders, I'm not sure what he's called. I'll add the link to his blueprint in the description, because he did the hate part. Then I added some of Nicholas Lion Riders designs, since I feel like no realistic zoo is complete without them. Here we get one last good look at the build. Thank you so much, and once again, if you enjoyed this video, then any form of support like and subscribing would be appreciated. Here I showcase the daffodil stalks again. They're similar to buffalo grass, but they give for a nice mix, which I think works better in habitats which have taller grass, like for big cats and yeah, for the carnivores. Thank you so much for watching once again. See you.